From Southern California, it's the Holy Duffer Podcast, brought to you by your favorite Duffer McShakers, Mark and Strolan. Welcome to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Holy Duffer Podcast. We got a banger of a pod for you today. We have a lot of fun stories of the Rolling with Strolan tour through many different things, including Rams Hill, the Women's U.S. Open, and a few funny stories along the way with that. We're going to talk about our week in golf, which is going to be fun. Been going down some rabbit holes, and I have a few questions for Strolan about who he would caddy for and why. But before we get too far down the fairway, Strolan, buddy, how you doing?
Mark, what is happening? Dude, we haven't talked in a hot minute. It's been almost a month. We've both had so much going on, a lot of work stuff going on with the 4th of July, but also just a lot of golf stuff in and out of on the golf course and volunteering and talking about things that are going on. So we're going to cover a few topics today. But what do you want to do first? You just want to talk about what's been going on in the world of our golf? That's the most important thing.
Let's start our golf. So, well, let's go with you. You've had the most going on, actually. So what's going on with you?
Well, I played yesterday. That was cool.
Nice.
Played Upland in my men's club with Ryan, Owen, and my brother, the very stoic Mike Nolan. But
Excellent.
Dude, it was really fun. Upland. We kind of caught the end of the heat wave with a cloud cover, so it was beautiful out there.
Nice.
I shot 84, coming off shooting 81 up in the desert, and I posted, obviously the 84 I posted because it was men's club and it was a tournament, but I also posted the 81 because I started off hot. And I told my boys I was going to score that day, and I'm scoring for a handicap score, so I shot 81. So I'm on a little bit of a hot streak, but I'm a little worried, Mark.
Are you now?
Well,
About
yeah,
what?
because I feel like I've gone 4 rounds with Muhammad Ali because I crashed my bike twice yesterday.
Okay, so I would like to say I completely understand crashing a bike once. I think any of us could do that.
Yes.
That I don't think takes any skill. It doesn't take any athletic ability. But I think crashing it twice does. I would like to hear a little more about this.
Okay, so after we were out there, we were doing men's club, and we were playing Upland Hills. You've played Upland, right?
No, I haven't. You guys have talked
What?
about it. I definitely wanted to get out there. It's one of those ones I wanted to. It's just eluded me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well the thing with that my men's club, this is a tad ironic, but my men's club likes Upland not only because of the course. It's short. It's only like 6,000 yards. It's a par 70.
Okay.
But it also has a very lively scene as far as its bar goes, and the cart girl situation and who they employ to work there. So we end up,
Lots of ogres, I take it.
Yes, no, it's like no, but basically, it's funny because it's kind of a situation. It reminds me a little bit what would be comparable, I guess, almost as Azusa Greens, where there's a lot of condos around that, like townhomes around that course.
Okay.
And everybody there owns their own golf course, and they treat the actual clubhouse like it's a bar, and it's like, so there's a lot of extracurriculars going on. There's a lot of people hanging out and partying. The food is fantastic. And they're more than willing to get you into the party situation. So I was kind of coming off of, basically a bad couple days of work in work situations, but that all turned around. And that's all fine. But I ended up, showing up there. I wasn't in the greatest mood. By the end of the day, I was just on cloud 9. So
Awesome.
The beers started flowing. I was playing some really good golf. I'm really happy with how I'm driving the ball. I hit 83% of the fairways today.
Nice.
Or
dude.
yesterday. 83%.
That's
and
nice.
245 longest, 230 average. I'm hitting longish and straight for me.
Awesome.
One penalty ball where I wiped one, but whatever. So we had a really good time, but I have to tell you, I've played golf since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
And I saw 2 things yesterday that I've only seen videos of, or half the time I think they're fake.
Okay.
And it happened twice in the same round. And I actually have pictures of this, and I will be posting them up on Instagram. Actually, I'm going to put them on my All Fours Instagram, but I'll share them with the Holy Duffer Instagram.
Okay, cool.
So I think it was about the 12th or 13th hole. Owen's up to the tee, and he just like hits this shot, and it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he toe shanked it. He was hitting driver. I don't know if he just left the club face open and just went straight right. But it went straight right and hit this tee probably about 20 yards away on the right side of the tee box, and hit this tree. And then we didn't see the ball. We're like, "Where's the ball? Where's the ball?" And it was like a good 3-4 seconds, and the ball landed like literally 10 yards to the right behind the tee box. It was so great, dude. I was like, I can't believe this.
So I'll say, like, I've hit a couple of shots like this, maybe not quite that right, but I've hit some pretty, like, amazingly bad shots, and I always do this. It's a great thing to do. If you're in this situation, just turn around to everybody and go, I hope you saw that, because I can only do that once.
Dude, it was incredible. So I took this great picture of Owen, like, standing there in the tee box looking at me with the ball, like, behind him. Like, I was like, dude, usually if you don't get it by the ladies' tees, you got to, whip it out. And I was like, what do you just, like, streak the hole? I mean,
I think that she's got to pants them and go on with your day.
So then we get to the 18th hole, and Ryan comes up. And same thing, he hits this shot, and I don't know what it was, but it went shooting off to the right. It hits this tree, and it doesn't pop in the air. It like comes back, goes over his shoulder, and almost hits him, and ends up in the tee box.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Which is better? See, those are both amazing shots.
Dude, we were at that point. I was running around the tee box like he got a hole in one. I was like, "This is the greatest! This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life." And do you know the rule on that? If the ball lands in the tee box, right?
You can re-tee it.
I said, "Do you get to re-tee that?" And he's like, "You're kidding me." I'm like, "No, it's in the tee box.
No, it's on tee box.
You
can tee it. Yeah.
You get to re-tee it.
It's a teeing area. Yeah.
Yeah. So he re-teed it and then ripped it like 260 yards right down the middle.
That's awesome.
Like, dude.
That's awesome.
So yeah, dude, that was my week in golf. I mean, other things happened. I played some really good golf, but those two stories just absolutely, it was amazing. It was great. So anyways, I have pictures of it. Both of them standing there with these looks on their faces, like, what the fuck just happened in their ball.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh my God, it's so good, so good. What about you? Anything exciting going on?
I have been doing a deep dive on. I mean, we briefly talked offline about my kind of fascination with Bryson DeChambeau, not his actual decisions in his golf game, like going one plane, one length.
Mm-hmm.
Although after my research and my dive into this, you could talk me into maybe 2 or 3 tiered sets.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
About this.
Yeah,
I have a cut down 5 hybrid and cut down. No, I don't have them. My kid stole them from me
because they're so easy to hit. By the way,
dude. Yeah, and they'd be probably in my bag in some form or fashion if he didn't have them and I had other clubs going. But I think when you get beyond a 7-iron, now you're talking about something that's just changing the loft of the club head, but still introducing that same swing speed you get with a 7-iron, which most decent amateurs, what would you say swing a 7-iron at? Like 85?
I mean, 80 to 85 is a pretty good amateur. 92, 92 is pro level. In that sense.
I sit around 85, and I feel like if I had different lofts, between, it's just the same thing. It's like I'm blending out my bag right now, where I stop at 7 with the JPX 923 Forge, go to the JPX 925 Hot Metal at the 6, Hot Metal Pro, and then it's a Hot Metal 5.
Right.
So it's like still the same club head style and performance, just a little more forgiveness as you go up in the bag. It's the same thing, right? You shorten the club, the shaft. It's the same thing.
It definitely is. So you could talk to me about that. But the interesting thing was that it was all based on reducing variables, which I actually do think that concept is amazing and important for golf and golfers. Like, that idea is great. His, how his execution of it, or his, what he came to, is I wouldn't agree with. I think there's problems with it, and people have talked about that. But so I went down this rabbit hole and started thinking about like short game and how you just like really get a lot of similarities in your swing. And I've been doing also, this got into motor learning. And so how you learn something isn't how you're taught golf. I think we've discussed this a few times. But it's actually like there's science and things on it that go like, no, actually reverse chain, which you should do is like, okay, so impact's the most important thing you have in this whole thing. That needs to be perfected. And then you build away from that. And so I've been doing this, right? And building out and getting like really good contact. And it's very much, this is it kind of, practice, right? It's like a very specific thing, getting to, and then building something a little bigger. And then, okay, now we're actually going to do something that is very specific, very like tailored towards golf. And I started doing the SkyTrack Plus has a like game evaluation from 40 yards to like 190. You can change it.
Like that.
I love it.
It's really cool.
It's 10 shots. It's 5 shots per. There is a green, and every single shot is graded, and they give you a handicap. Now they give you a total handicap, an averaged out based on every shot that you hit, but they also do a individual shot. So everything you do like has value. So it's it's much like on the golf course. So after doing this for a couple of weeks, now for everyone out there, I'm like hovering at a 14 right now. My from 40 yards to 190 average was 8.8. Now that's with, I gassed out at 6 iron, and my 6 iron was a 26. Right? Like, so it's actually, take that out, it's actually a lower number. Like, this has been really beneficial. But I haven't played any golf, but I have been really working on specific things, and they have value. I need to get out. This week ain't going to happen. It's going to be so hot, but like next week, I'm going to take this whole thing out, and I'll leave with this, because I'm going to do some content about it, because the mechanics thing is, if the way most people are playing golf, myself included, is we don't start with a grand action when we're about to hit a shot. We don't start with, we have thoughts in our head about some position or this or that, something external. We don't have like hit. Like, you don't run that way. If I said run across the field or across to the street, you wouldn't start thinking about the motion of it. And if you did,
which foot do I lift up first? I'm confused.
Right. So you do this, this. You wouldn't have that at all. But if you did, you wouldn't run very well. You might actually fall on your ass. Yet, how many people play golf that way, where they don't have like a target? Or if I told you to throw a baseball, and you were thinking about your motion instead of like where the ball is going, you may throw a good ball, but you wouldn't be consistent at all. Like, anybody can do that maybe once or twice, but in repetition. So that idea, like you need to have a like command action. You have to have a grand action in your mind, because, and here's really interesting, it gets into your fight or flight. So when you're under pressure on a golf course, you have that same thing happening. And if you don't have a very simple idea of what you want to do, it's problematic. And that's why by the way, the Pro Center works really good as well, because it takes all that out of you. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's what I've been doing. No golf, a lot of like nerdy stuff, but it's working is what I'll say.
Well, a golf nerd doing nerdy things. Who would have ever thought?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yep, no surprise at all.
Yeah.
So, should we move along and talk about this? Then we're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go back first to. We're going to kind of jump around in time. This is going to be like a time adventure, Mark.
We need the. Do we have someone who does a harp? Because this would be great.
Yeah, dude. Oh, do I have one? Let's go look. Damn, not there. Not there. I got this. Nope, that's not it.
That's really not it.
No.
I mean, it's something. It ain't that.
We can do that tiger entry, which is always hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
Yeah.
Not a game. We talking about practice.
Yeah, it's sick.
Gotta love.
We are kind of talking about practice.
We are talking about practice.
Oh my god,
It's a real game, though. The USGA. Oh, the
well, hold
USGA.
on.
They do many things. But go
before
on.
we get into USGA, because the rest of the podcast about the USGA, we did a little remote, which was a lot of fun. Where Mark literally, he did call in. He was on his back on his cell phone calling in, and I was out in Rams Hill with my, soundboard and everything. And God, we put together a little fun podcast. It turned out kind of nice.
Yeah, it was.
How well it sounded. So, anyways, to wrap up Rams Hill, me and Lucas went out. We played. I played pretty well the next day. I think I shot like 86 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know I come across as like an advertisement for Rams Hill, but this is a course that really everyone should be making their way out to. For the money you can pay to play and stay, and the quality of the course. I mean, me and Lucas were trying to talk JJ coming with us next year and bringing like one of his buddies and playing
awesome,
it. It's just awesome, dude. It's such a fucking killer course and it's such a great event. And we got golf bags as part of our prize package, and I think I went all over that in our little remote. But we played the second day. We played really, really well. We ended up I think about tied for like 20th or something like that out of like
nice
34 teams. So, we totally made ourselves look good. I actually just every time I get the Rams Hill, dude, I start driving the ball and it just leaks into my driving game. I shot 81 at Silver Lakes, driving the hell out of the ball. Shot 4 at Upland, driving the hell out of the ball. I'm just like hitting the ball just long and straight, never like I have before a driver. It always starts at Rams Hill. So that's other than the compliment and throw flowers at that event. I also have to say, every time I go out there, I come back at the beginning of my summer golf season playing better. So, Rams Hill, everybody.
I think it's amazing. I also think you probably are doing a lot of work that suddenly kind of gets there and is ready. And that place just does bring out great golf. I think it's a great place to play. And I think the event itself is pretty amazing from everything you said. So I think it's a combination of all that.
It's so fun. The vibes are so good. It's just like,
yeah.
And that's what golf does the best. That's why I went from yesterday, waking up in the morning, am I even going to play? Am I just going to sit around the house all day and not go to work and not golf and just mope? And I was like, no, I'm going to go fucking golf, dude. And I'm so glad I did, because golf picked me up and I felt so much better by the end of the day. Yeah. Better enough to go out and hit the bars and then crash my bike.
Again, it takes skill. Not just anyone can do that. I want to point that out. That's an athlete right there.
Well, I ended up in a bush, just not the bush I wanted.
Right? Sad but true story, my friend.
And now I am basically my whole right side of my body. I feel better by the end of today, so I don't think it'll be out that bad.
Good.
But man, the bush saved my life because anyways. My son dragged me out.
Hasn't the bush saved us all?
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the Rams Hill recap. Cool. Rams Hill recap, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. Sounds like a blast.
Who hit the laughter button? Mark, stop laughing.
Stop laughing now. All right, so we're going to get into the USGA a little bit. You may have heard on many of our last podcasts about ball rollback, and we have feelings about it. And apparently, so do a lot of other people, and those people are, people like Titleist and PGA players and a lot of people that make, a lot of weight in the world. And apparently, we right, they wrong. We're right with a lot of smart people, by the way, that, we didn't come to this on our own. A lot of people said a lot of great things. Sasha McKenzie and others were ahead of this, saying, I don't know what you're trying to do, but this ain't going to change anything except the average golfer will be impacted. By whatever margin isn't even the point. It's like, look, don't take anything from me as an average. Look, no one wants anything taken away from them, right? That's just the way it is. Well, anyway, they found Jesus via the PGA Tour, who's apparently
Prophesize, baby.
it's apparently gonna be. Hey, guess what? The NFL's been pretty successful having their own rule book. Guess who thinks that's probably a good idea? The guy that came from the NFL. Surprise! Is everyone? Are we surprised?
No.
No. Yeah, and more has come out. Like, I've stopped paying attention to this once I realized, they're gonna just not listen to them, have their own rule book, and if the USGA is real nice, they'll let them pretend that they have power, but it's gone.
Yeah, you knew that when this announcement came out before the U.S. Men's Open, you knew that when you looked at the document that they released on, it included the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and RNA, USGA, the PGA, which is separate than, we'll get into this in a bit, but the PGA, Professional Golfers Association in America, is different than the PGA Tour. They run the PGA tournament, but they're different. They manage all basically the actual tour pros that you go get lessons from that are PGA Tour pros that give lessons. So separate thing. But anyways, and all the manufacturers, and they had all signed on. And basically, once you knew they all got together and said, "Oh, we'll work together on this," then you knew that the ball rollback was dead. So, whatever they do, the PGA Tour may do their own rule book. They may bifurcate, which is fine. It's already bifurcation anyways. It already exists. It's so funny. That's how this whole thing started. Is Cam Young was using this like tour-only Titleist offering. It was like a left dash double dot or something crazy like that, that only tour players can get. And it was a conforming ball, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." I'm like, so we're saying we already bifurcated the game. So so anyways, depending on which way it goes and how they end up doing it, like you said, maybe the USGA will be involved, maybe the PGA Tour will go out solo and do this. It's just really, really ironic. Do you know when this all started? What year they started talking about rolling back the ball?
No, I don't.
2017.
Okay.
2017. Do you know what the average turnover for players on the PGA Tour is?
No, I don't.
It's 5 years. 5 years on average, which really speaks like how amazing like players like Rory McIlroy are that have been relevant this long. But usually most of the mules, most of the players on the tour turn over 5 years. So it's 2026. We've been talking about this for 9 years. They rolled it back. Now they pushed it back to 2030. They don't know what they're going to do. They know that what I've heard from various podcasts, Shotgun Start and No Laying Up, is that they're not going to roll back the ball because they knew it was going to be a total fucking disaster, especially after Cam Young proved it at the PGA.
Yeah.
And so now you're 4 years away before you're even going to make a decision. And by then you're going to have rolled over 80% of these PGA Tour players that just signed on to say, yeah, we will support some form of bifurcation. Then so what are we going to do then? I mean,
right.
You're looking at 13 years before you started the conversation, and they have nothing done at all.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is to go back. We're old enough to remember when you could have square grooves, when there was a different groove rule. And the USGA at the time, wielding a lot more power than they have now in the space, decided nope, we're not doing that. And they changed the rule, right? And in about 2 years, you got most of that spin back. In fact, I think the reason the spin is where it is, honestly, is that it makes sense for the professional player. Like they don't want as much spin. They actually needed to have a certain amount of spin. There's a profile they want. But also what happened in that time, because AK said it, he was like, what happened to the rough? Because he left before that, right? It's like, oh, well, the PGA Tour went, oh, you've taken spin away. We're going to take the rough down. We are going to manage the game for our players so we get the product we want. This time, so it did nothing that they wanted to, and it just impacted average players more, but then pros. And the research monkeys at all these places, these rocket scientists, figured it out, which is what was going to happen anyway. So this time, I feel that the PGA kind of gave them a soft nudge on the shoulder and said, hey, we're not doing anything that's going to mess with our product. So how about you stop telling people you're going to be doing shit that we're not on board with? How about we, and by we, I mean I, come up with a plan that my players like and can get on board with. And then you can announce it if you'd like. We might make it a rule book. We might not. They're most likely going to do a rule book. Local model rule probably will be what they use to tailor things to do it. But that said, ain't nothing happening again without all those stakeholders on board. It's not. The days of the USGA and the RNA deciding that they're going to mess with the product is officially over. That's done.
Yeah, no, it's and I think that it makes the most sense because it kind of ties into what the second part of this part about the USGA and me working the U.S. Women's Open was kind of seeing what they do well, and this is something they don't do well. So it's like you know what this cat's been out of the bag. I understand what you're going for. But there's so many more intelligent ways to get there. The ball rollback was never the answer. Especially, it was funny because someone posted on the golf subreddit. Great place to go. If you guys don't spend any time there, go to golf subreddit. Be enlightened. But some guy posted in there, he was like, hey, the ball rollback. If you look at it, the distance for amateur golf has been flat. That's my son. We'll stop in a second. The distance for amateur golfers gained has been flat for like the last 20 or 30 years, whatever stat he cited. So he goes, in the rollbacks only looks like it's going to affect us anywhere from 5 to 10 yards, so it's not that big a deal. I'm like, what do you mean it's not that big of a deal? I said, if we have not gained any yardage in 10 years, you're thinking it's okay to take away 5 to 10?
Right.
And he was like, I'm like, that's not a zero-sum number, bud. I said, we're not gaining any yardage, realistic yardage at all with all of our swing trainers and information we have now, launch monitors and all that. And the amateur golfer isn't like spiking up in the distance range, but some of us can leverage some of that stuff to get a few more yards, and then we're going to have that taken away, because we haven't gained anything in 25 years. The argument makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. And how about this? I would love to play that guy for a game where he gets to go back 10 yards on every drive. Let's play. Let's play where you gotta because I guarantee you that's gonna matter over 18. It's just going to.
All I know is I've been, driving the ball really well lately. My swing is really kind of swinging around to what I've been working on for like the last 5-6 years. My club head speed and my contact's getting better and better and better. And, I've literally gone from a 207 average with driver to like about a 221 to 225.
That's awesome.
Carry, and I'm putting some out there that are, close to 240. For me, that's great. But it also means the average approach distance has gone down from about 142, 143 to like 125. So,
that's amazing.
Just think about it. Okay, add 10 yards to that.
Yeah.
How happy does that make me?
It doesn't. And no one, if we played a match and that was the rules, like, okay, so you like the ball. That's great. Okay, so we're going to take the longest drive that we have, okay, collectively. And then you get to go back 5 to 10 paces Well, flip a coin to see which one it is. Let's be fair. I get to go with the longest drive because I think rolling back the ball is bullshit. I'm not saying I would win because that's not how golf works, but I would have an advantage.
Yeah. Or even if the guy was a longer hitter, you'd equalize that advantage.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't understand how people don't get so on the golf course. Look, it's not a big. I understand it's not a big number, but by the way, that number he's talking about is half a stroke on your handicap that you have to find somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Cumulatively, that's what it is. That's what it'll equal. I'm sorry, that's just the way the stats work. Saying it that way makes it sound benign. I'm like, yeah, but what does that mean to an actual handicap? Let's talk about that. You know, I mean, look, if you had a job and you were at your job, you were like an 18 handicap, and next year you were a 19 handicap, I might fire you. You're going the wrong way.
You're going the wrong way, buddy. Get out.
You know what I'm saying is that it doesn't make me want to have you work. You know what I'm saying? It just isn't good. And I just think it's fascinating. Yeah, well, they said it that way because it sounds like nothing, but every yard counts.
It is. It is something. And I've experienced it just by increasing my yardage off the tee over the last couple of months as my game's swinging around. It's dude, I feel it. I'm hitting more greens. I went from hitting 4 to 6 greens around to 6 to 8. And a lot of my misses are a lot closer to the green. And it's okay, So, anyways, we won. They lost. The good guys won. Mark, what do you have to say about that?
I think it's good glory in the morning. We are amazing and proficient at our proselytizing. But I do want to hear.
Ooh, I like that. Say it again.
I don't think I can because I don't even know what I said. But
proficient
at our proselytizing.
That was pretty good. I like that.
But I would love to hear about all the things they really do well. And you had a front row seat for that. I'd really like to hear about that, to be honest.
And this is so funny because what this is going to lead into is what my job was for the U.S. Women's Open. So I was at Riviera. I'd never been to Riviera before, and fantastic experience, first class all the way. They treated us great, but it was odd because my shifts were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I really had the Rams Hill weekend was the weekend after I worked those shifts. Mm-hmm. So the podcast we did beforehand with me and Lucas out in Rams Hill that we kind of finished up and touched on and recapped a minute ago was the weekend after I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at Riviera. And I got a hotel room down there on the west side, a place I'm not a big fan of. Not on the west side guy, Mark. No.
Is it too something for you?
It's too many fucking people. Is what it is. It's just what are all these pretentious fucking idiots? I swear to God, dude. Okay. And the fucking Wave-Mo the driverless cars and I don't know, dude. It's not my scene.
Yeah.
Anyways,
when people make fun of California, that's what they're talking about.
Oh man, it's wow, I can't believe it. Where are you people all from? They're not from here, But anyways,
no, they're not actually.
No, not at all. But the experience is you volunteering for the U.S. Women's Open at Riviera was great. Just to be on the grounds, it's wow, I'm on a country club course right now. I'm not playing it, but none of the members want me here, and this is fucking awesome. Actually, the day one, since we were the Monday volunteers, they actually shuttled us from this middle school across the street. This is weird because Riviera is in the middle of a fucking neighborhood. It's you're just going down this neighborhood street, and all of a sudden there's gates, and then you're in Riviera. It's wild.
That's a trip.
And so they dropped us in front of the clubhouse. The only day we got to do this, and I got to walk through the clubhouse and walk into the main clubhouse foyer and the main, basically, greeting room, and walk right out the back door. And there's those railroad ties that leads you down to the 18th hole, and there's the practice greens, and all the ladies are out there putting, and there's Michelle Wee, and all this. And it's wow, this is fucking incredible.
Awesome.
So. But anyways, my job was really interesting. It was tracking the women's driving distance. So they gave me an iPad or a tablet. I couldn't tell what it was. I figured it was an iPad. It was some proprietary software. And they parked me out on a hole And when the ball would come in, I look at the iPad and it had like it had a diagram of the hole, and you just press, where the ball landed and hit OK, and it record it. And that's what they were using to determine how they're going to set up the tees for the playing days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're tracking the distances, and they did change because like my first day there was Monday, and I was on 12, and it was that hole goes west. And literally, as the day went on, I could see the driving, between 10 and 2, when I was out there, my 4-hour shift, you could see the driving distances go down because the wind picked up.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was stuff like that. So it was really interesting that the USGA is very much involved with like tracking driving distance in the women's game to make sure they set up the tees right. But they want to roll back the ball that's going to affect the women like as much as it affects us. It was like, I'm like, wow, I'm like, this makes no sense. So we're out here tracking this. The USGA is conscious of it, and they do a great. I mean, their setup is like fucking impressive as fuck. I mean, it is first class, 100% all the way.
Yeah.
But it was like kind of reinforced the whole idea of like, this ball rollback's not just about these 3% of these dudes that do it for a living.
No.
And to finish off the ball thing, and we'll go more fully into the U.S. Women Open stuff, I think it was Lucas Glover that just said this week, it was like, he goes, you don't understand. He goes, if pro golf ended tomorrow and there's no money in it, like there's no more pro golf, gone.
Mm-hmm.
He said probably about 60% of the guys would quit playing golf and never play again.
Yeah.
Because they play to make a living.
Yeah.
And they really don't play for the passion of the game. So it's like, why are we tailor making anything in golf to these guys?
It's their entertainment. They are an entertainment product, just like anything else. But what's interesting, too, when you talk about that, it's like actually reading the USGA report tells you that there are a lot of people that do know what's going on, have done the research, and there's a few people at the top that aren't listening to them, but the people that like do what you're talking about know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're very good at their job. And because the report about like said, hey, the ball is like 5th or 6th on the list of things you could talk about. So they do know what they're doing. It's just that people at the top seem to be fixated on something besides listening to smart people.
Yeah. And what the other experience I got out of the whole thing was really kind of realizing it's like, the USGA runs U.S. Women's Open, U.S. Men's Open, U.S. Junior, and all the mid-ams across the country. They run, and I'm like looking at how they set up the course and looking at what they're doing at the course and everything from like, how the build out is set up for it's like much more grandstands, is not as much corporate. Like when I've gone to the Farmers Insurance Open, when I've gone to PGA Tour events or senior PGA Tour events, which I have, is like a lot of corporate, a lot of like special areas for big wigs, and a lot of food. USGA sets it up more like a stadium, like you're there for a sporting event, and then sets up the course accordingly. So it made me realize. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I don't know if anyone, really thinks about this. I never have. I'm 53 years old, and I've watched golf my whole life, but I've never really kind of like compartmentalized the difference between PGA Tour and those tournaments and what they're trying to sell, and what the USGA is trying to do, what the Masters is trying to do, what the PGA of America, which is separate from the PGA Tour, is trying to do, which isn't a very good job, but that's a different thing. Nice dog. And what the Masters and Augusta National is trying to do. Like the way the USGA is setting everything up, from the way they show the product, with the way it works for people that are on the grounds, and for the way they're setting up the course itself, is very different than what the PGA Tour is trying to do. Mm-hmm. Like the PGA Tour is trying to produce a, like you said a minute ago, a very entertaining product. The ball goes far. These dudes are spinning it in there. They're making birdies. The scores are low. That's excitement. That's juice. That's what the PGA Tour wants. What the USGA wants is par wins. 4 over wins. And so they grow the rough up. They narrow the fairways. They change the setup accordingly to nullify what they think the issues are. So I don't understand that they are actively. I volunteered for it. I sat there with an iPad and was tracking this data that they're collecting, that they know how to set up the course to make it the most possible challenge it can be for a professional golfer. And then they look at what the PGA's Tour is doing, and they're freaking out about rolling back the ball. And it doesn't make sense. The two things aren't the same fucking thing. I sat there on the course and saw it. I'm like, this isn't the same thing as what I saw at Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. They're doing a separate thing. They're presenting a different product.
It's a completely different product. And that was blowing me. It was like, no, the PGA Tour doesn't want to have, 25 U.S. Opens. They don't. I don't think anybody does. To be honest, I don't want to see that every week. Like,
no, not everybody does. But I do want to see it 4 times a year, which is what the majors deliver.
Exactly.
So, it makes sense. And what the PGA Tour is doing with their 2-track system, we won't go too much into that, but what leads into a playoffs that, is going to include match play, which Andy from the Shotgun Star pointed out. He made a very good point. It's like, once it becomes match play, no one cares that they shoot 8 under, because that's not the point of the competition. And so now you introduce courses in that you couldn't have before because, oh no, they're rooting Cypress Point because they're shooting a 58 out there. It doesn't matter. It's match play. So it's like, there are ways to make the product entertaining, and there are ways to do what you want to do in a tournament, and you already know how to do them. So why are we even talking about? I guess if you want to do bifurcation, fine. I know the manufacturers are against it. Makes sense because I want to play the driver Rory plays, right? But at the end of the day, they're all different products, and that's what I took away from the U.S. Women's Open. Well, one of the things I took away, but as far as like in this whole discussion of rollback and equipment changes, I was like, we're talking, apples and oranges here.
I think, yes. So a good example was during the U.S. Open, which, by the way, no one ran away with it. What's his face who won it?
Wyndham Clark, blow pig.
Wyndham Clark.
Blow pig.
He got really lucky on one day. He played well, but he got really lucky on one day.
Yeah, the conditions laid down. He just
and otherwise it would have been like close to par or right 3-4 either way, right? It would have been right there.
And he still almost spit the bid on Sunday.
Yeah, he almost did. Without that good afternoon, yes. But here's the thing of it though. At that same thing, Bryson DeChambeau had a tailor-made driver. It was a QD45X or whatever it is that their new one is, but it had an extra little bit on it. It said 200 plus. That's for 200 plus miles an hour ball speed. So it is a QD4. It looks like one, but it's only for the tour. It's only for him. And how people don't get that is actually much more of what happens on tour than what is let on. And it's all a game. Yeah, Rory's got a specially fit driver, and everyone else does, and they have their equipment like manicured to the nth degree. It's their profession. It's their job. Of course they do.
It's their job.
So,
exactly.
Who
are we fooling?
Yeah, hopefully a lot of people because they want to sell it. But, come on. If anything was like a note to say bifurcation is here, and I don't get why everyone has a problem with it, Bryson DeChambeau has a one-of-one driver for him. There's 2 different ones. It's from TaylorMade. It looks like that driver. Some of the technology in it is the same, but it is not a driver that you or I would ever want to hit. No matter what shaft they put into it, it would never work for us. It's not meant for us. Mm-hmm. But TaylorMade gets to say that he's playing their driver, and that has some marketing value.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how to
they totally will.
Shit.
Yeah.
Get out of here with all that.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be an entertaining product, and the USGA will go, it's what we wanted all along. So they can stop pretending. 'Cause that's what's going to be. There's the guy that comes from the NFL isn't going to be like, oh, so the guy making the ball wants to tell me how to run this thing, or the guy, you know what I mean? Like that would never happen. Wilson came up, we're going to change the football this year.
It's not even the guy making the ball. It's like that analogy I've said in previous podcasts that Sasha gave about like, say you were like you're really into bike racing, and you started making like you decided, well, I'm gonna make my own bike, and you made like the fastest bike, and you started winning all these races, and then this like total other organization came along and was like, yeah, you can't use that bike anymore, and you're like, well, why? Like, because we say so. And you're like, well, who are you? Well, we regulate, the bike racing industry. Okay, do you make bikes? Nah, we don't fucking do that. You race bikes? For fun.
Yeah.
But what say do you have in anything? We just say so. That's because.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the idea of, but it'd be as absurd as like the guy making the football said, we're just going to change it. Mm-hmm. The NFL would be like, no, you're not.
We're doubling the size of the football.
Now, honestly, that actually might be awesome if they just went, you know what? We wanted to make it 3 times as big. We think it's going to be awesome.
You got to throw with 2 hands now, over like you're a soccer player,
right? And it'd be like,
so
and
funny.
the NFL's like, I guess we have to do this. No, it's not
Fuck
happening.
yourself.
That's the insanity of it.
But I will say, I'm going to throw a lot of flowers at the USGA. What they do right, they do very right. I mean, that was a fantastic event at Riviera. It was absolutely bonkers killer. And it was a totally different look. I've never been to a USGA event. And like I said, I've been to professional events where it's like very commercialized and they're sell. This was very sparse. I mean, there was vending. There was places to buy food and drinks. But there was not a lot of like corporate layouts. It was just grandstands and a place where people watch golf. I think if you look at the Open, right now me and Mark are recording the Monday before the Open Championship, British Open Championship. You'll see a lot of the same thing. Augusta does a lot of the same thing as well. I mean, they're famously concessions are super cheap. And the PGA of America, they kind of like are trying to figure that thing out. They kind of run the line between both. But I mean, the USGA, as far as everything they run, and they run a lot of tournaments. They run a lot of events. Like I said, they have across all spectrums of, abilities and, from professional to amateur events. They run a ton of them. And they really do a fucking great job. But, I think they've kind of lost the, what I want to say, they kind of lost the story with this one. And, now we're going to be 13 years in before they even think of doing anything. So, I think at the end of the day, stick to the tournaments, write a good rule book and please, take the input from the PGA and from the DP World Tour. And if you're going to write one rule book, take input from them and make it all work. If you can do it without bifurcating it and with model local rules, let's go.
I think that's the way they're going to go. I think they ran up against a wall of people going, yeah, we're done with this. We tried this with the grooves and it didn't do anything and it cost us a lot of money and we ain't doing it again. And now the landscape has changed. I think the amount of money, like investment money that's in the PGA now, and the kind of people that have come in that are, they're sports people, they're entertainment people, there are Labradors and cats behind me.
I love it. It's like what is it? Little House on the Prairie over there. Hello.
Yeah, they're all like, I don't know what you're doing, man.
Hey, at least we can say a pussy in our podcast.
Exactly, and we should.
So
there's just no way that was going to happen, given where we are in the world. Like that's thank you, Liv, by the way, because without Liv, I don't think the landscape would have been the same.
As Liv dies a terrible death.
Oh,
my God.
Long live, be it dead or alive.
Oh, my beautiful boy. My beautiful boy. Anyways.
All right.
So hold on. You had a question for me. You do your question, and then I will do something else for you.
All right. So here's what I was ruminating about. 2 things. One, Would you want to play a scramble, a two-man scramble with DeChambeau?
Bryson DeChambeau?
Yeah.
I'm a Brooks Koepka guy. You know that, right?
I do.
Yeah. I may want to kill him by the end of the round, but I would say yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
now
I would say yes. Just because, like, he tries to do like the Rain Man autistic thing. You ever watch his videos? He's like, "Well, it should be 4 degrees left and 3 degrees right and 3 yards, and
he's
it's uphill
deep
4
in the
yards."
weeds. Yes.
And then he does that. And he never makes the putt. It'd be so much more impressive if he actually made the shot that he's calculating. But so that would probably drive me insane.
I think so.
But no, I mean, to play with a guy of that caliber, fuck yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
I'd play with him.
All right. Now, would you caddy for him?
No.
That's interesting.
No.
Yeah.
Not
That's
after
a
I
much
saw
easier
him
one,
get clotheslined by the ropes and like, go down in like the most dramatic fashion. Like he just got like his head almost chopped off. No, I would not deal. I could not deal with that for 18 holes. No,
I know. So it was super interesting. He's a guy that a lot of people have a lot of opinions about, but I have not heard. That's about the reaction I've gotten. Like, I might maybe if I had to play a scramble. There's, like Koepka's a big, like a lot of people would love to play with him. I think that'd be great. Him, Woodland, Scheffler, a lot of people.
There goes my light.
There goes the light. But no one wants to caddy for Bryson.
No one wants to caddy for Bryson. You don't think his caddy wants a caddy for him? His caddy's it
was good.
You can carry your bag today.
Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting because I thought about it. I was like, yeah, would you? I'm like, I'm not sure I would. I mean, I get so your answer is really great because it takes into account like just the idea of playing with somebody at that caliber. I think you'd have to.
You have to.
You'd have to. But if you had a choice between him and anybody else on the tour,
you probably have other choices.
It'd be a different, and that's kind of where I think everyone is. Yeah,
it's like Tommy. I really want to play with Tommy because I know he's a good golfer, and I just want to play with good golfers because you learn so much from him.
Oh, so much.
I'm very much in. I'm not intimidated by that at all. It's so funny because Mark, I shot 84. I had 2 birdies, dude. I had. What was it? It was 6 pars, 2 birdies. Let's see, 5 bogeys. So 14 holes. I was essentially 3 over.
Nice.
And then I had 4 double bogeys or worse.
Oh, that's brutal.
And I shot 84.
You were having a great round going, brother.
Yeah, it was just the holes that I had. I had a penalty, wiped one out of bounds. It never happens. I never do that. But I hit 83% of my fairways. My ball striking wasn't that great, and I putted fucking insane. I putted absolutely. One of my birdies I made.
By the way, he was like, I don't know, he was playing pretty good, but he was putting out of his mind.
Dude,
I've seen you do that. You go, dude. You go brainless, and suddenly everything goes in. It's insane.
Dude, yeah, it started with the first par 3. I drained like a 25-footer for birdie, and it was on. It was like nothing under 10 feet everything was going in.
It's gone, baby.
Yeah. Dude, I was telling my boys last night. I said, Grandpa's putter, that Scotty Cameron, Sergio Garcia, Del Mar. I said it's possessed. I said I have. Ever since I've got it, my putting's got better. Now, ever since I got it, I started doing heads-up putting. But the putter still works for me. For whatever reason, I deliver a very consistent roll on that putter.
I think
it's
the
just
fact
the way it is.
That is everyone talks about zero torque or low torque. That is a max torque. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It totally is. But it gives you a lot of feel. I think it gives you a ton of feel. I think that's what that really does.
And with heads-up putting, I just feel like I can.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm not going. This is not bragging because my sons have said this, and people have played with golf with me for a while have said this. Is I'm really good at reading putts. I just see lines. I can sit there. I can sit there, especially once I figure out the speed of the greens, and these greens were slower. So for me, slower greens, not as much break. I can bang at them more. I can be more aggressive with my lines, and I just took advantage.
Yeah.
My older brother once called me the king of the long hair greens. Because you're the king of the long hair greens. So when you get long hair greens, once you feel it out, you start just making everything. Now I prefer
everything gets
fast
pretty
greens.
Straight. It gets a lot straighter putts. I mean, there is that. It takes some breakout, but yeah.
and I prefer fast greens, 100%. But I know how to handle slow greens. It's Poana greens in Southern California. Sometimes you find them, they're watering them out, and they're not been rolled, and they get hairy.
A little chunky, as I'd say. Chunky.
All right, well, so that's enough about me. We have 5 minutes left, and we're going to land this airplane perfectly down at our 60-minute mark. I'm very proud of us.
Nice.
But I want you to talk about the articles you have up. You have a couple of articles up.
I do.
Get people to where they need to go, how to get there, and what they're about.
Yeah, they're on our front page. It's holyduffer.com. A couple of things. I've been going down some, as you can tell from my week in golf, which is all like super ginormous nerd stuff. I've been doing
nerds.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was thinking about it was a podcast that Bryson did, I think, with Mark Immelman. And if you're interested in golf and instruction and just great stories, he's got a great podcast. But he was talking to Bryson, and Bryson explained the reason he went to one length was so he could get a competitive advantage. It was reducing variables, allowed him to, he was not a star junior, actually. You look at him now, he wasn't. He was but he wasn't top in his area, and he was having trouble keeping up with those guys. And he went to that. That was the idea of it. And the concept is lowering your variables over time, because you have limited time, should help you. And so I've been going.
We've talked about this in the past. I mean, this is what your key to scoring better isn't more birdies. It's getting the ball in play and playing for bogey and not having inflated scores by double bogeys or worse.
Right. So what I've done, I went through this, let's talk about the short game and what the modern short game is on tour and where it's at. And a lot of it is really simplified. And the reason is that for a pro, it's 10% of their score, their short game. Now, they have amazing short games, but since it's only 10% and about 35 to 40% is their irons, they spend way more on their irons now. So to do that, you have to really simplify what you're doing. You can't be practicing 50 different shots. You have to have 3 or 4. Yes, sir.
I have a story. I have a good story that relates to this.
Nice.
Yay.
So
this came up on my Instagram. This came up on my Instagram feed, and I can't remember which caddy it was, but it was a guy that caddied for Tiger for only a couple years. Mm-hmm. And he was working with this junior, 15-year-old junior that's really good. And someone got some video of him and the audio of them talking on the green, the practice green, for a practice round. And he was said basically this. He says, see that bunker over there? The kid was like, yeah. And he goes, when I caddy for Tiger, he would never go hit out of bunkers like that for practice. And the kid was like, why? And he goes, because that bunker's dead. He goes, you can't get within 10 to 20 feet of the hole from that bunker. So there's no point of practicing out of it because that's going to be the end result every time. So Tiger would go over and just hit high percentage shots that he knew he can get around the green or from whatever bunker within 5 feet or less.
Yeah.
He would reduce his variables on the shots that mattered most and give away and not matter about the shot that he knew he couldn't get within scoring distance. And that's what he would focus on. And the kid was like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. And I'm like, neither have I. That was fucking really smart.
That's what this research is. So the irony for us amateurs is that it's about 50% of our score. It's a much higher, depending on your handicap, it's a much higher percentage of it. But the concept of I have a full-time job. I can't practice every shot. I got to pick some really good shots to have. And if I can manage to get some continuity between the swings, so I'm practicing one swing instead of 3, that's a good thing too. Mm-hmm. So I've gone to my pitch shot, my basic pitch is my bunker shot. I set up the same. I'm a little wider in the bunker, but I don't have the technique. It's exactly the same. It's very Steve Stricker. It's very wide. I come into it. On my pitch shots, I come behind it, and it's literally the same thing. It's an inch, it's a close one. And it works in Southern California because you have a lot of firm bunkers, right?
And, oh, man, Upland Hills, woof.
Now, I'll
There
say
was a
this.
boulder in one of them, like literally the size of a basketball.
Dude, now that works for anything that's really hard and firm or packed. When you get the caveat, but then you have to have a shot for like when it's clay, like hard clay. That's a different shot, conceptually the same thing, but that's very much like, an explosion. When I have to get something high, it's the kind of the same shot. It's a little. So I looked into, and then we have that basic, and then I looked into like the three big like gurus in the space right now are Joe Mayo and Stan Utley, who, by the way, are both advising ping, and I want to hang out with them on the green doing that.
Do you think like most of the guys, like the developers and technicians for ping, just stand behind like one-way glass and like put them in one room and like ready, set, ding, go?
Because they're so polar opposites, right? But they have value in different shots. They totally do in different conditions. And then there's the short game chef, that's McLaughlin guy, who's amazing. And if you just kind of like take a little bit from each of them, and I built an article about that, you can have a really good short game with maybe 5 shots, 6 shots.
Perfect.
And you won't have to do anything else. There's a lot of overlap, so you can practice one swing that gets you in a lot of places. Like I literally go from like pitch shots over a bunker to going into the bunker and hitting the same exact shot. And it gets out, it's there. Then you got to be able to putt. That's what I've been doing, and we're going to do more of it. I'm going to generate some actual video content as well.
Nice. Excellent.
For it.
We can find all that on the Holy Duffer website. That's where we're
Yes.
going. All right, we got more content there. That's fantastic. I love it.
There's about 3-4 articles that we've done lately, and it's all about making it. The concept is we're all limited in time. Let's make this very easy. Like, look, if you just look at this, try this out, and that's where we're going to do some video content, you will get better faster simply because you're actually practicing things that leverage your time in a positive way. And I think that can help everybody.
I think that's what we're all about too. Is we're not giving you swing lessons. We're just telling you what we found, the things you can focus on to make sure you get better. At the things you need to be better at as an amateur golfer.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And I have a whole thing. I have a whole article I'm talking about swing lessons, and I think they're bullshit. But go on.
Dude, we're going to do a podcast on that. We've already touched on this beforehand, but I have a story going to what I saw at Glendora Country Club with a guy giving this lady a lesson, and I was watching him make her worse.
Yes.
And yeah, I have some opinions on that because it's also come up as a thread on the golf subreddit. And if you want to do a podcast on that soon, we should definitely.
Absolutely. I have some content kind of like half written about it. We're going to, I think, and here's the teaser. You don't need a swing lesson. You need an impact lesson.
You don't need a swing lesson. You need an impact lesson, and you need an education to learn what you need to learn. I think that's important.
Yes, I totally do. And we'll talk about like there's things that work really well and things that don't. But yes, I want to do a podcast about that and do some content about it as well.
Awesome. That'll be our next one, guys. So you have a little preview of coming attractions. All right, Mark, I think I'm done, dude. This was fucking awesome. We're landing the plane right at 103.
I like it.
We're touching down. The rear wheels are grazing the ground. And great podcast. This is exactly what I wanted to cover. We kind of wrapped up a month of really exciting things going on. We're putting ourselves out there, both of us, and grabbing more content and trying to really bring you guys some stuff. And yeah, this has been a nice one, man. Thanks for having me on, and I'm dipping out.
Sweet. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us. As always, we appreciate it. You can find us at holyduffer.com, at holyduffer on Instagram, and all our socials are at that handle. When you see this on the YouTube, all the things we reference will be in the notes. And as always, we hope you play well, and may the fairways be with you.
There's a truth that's hard to scratch, yeah. The vision never dies. Golf's a never-ending, we'll say. Holy Duffer, you're the star of the shotgun start. No need to look so afraid. Swing like the tiger. You can feel it swing. can see his swing and his putter's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get a par, get a par, gotta get a par, get a par, yeah. Holy duffer, bogey survivor, you're the one who's clean. Holy duffer, there's a trap on the back nine coming after you. Oh, holy duffer, oh, holy duffer, yeah, alright. Get a par, get a par,